Live.
We're live.
From Toronto, Canada. Broadcasting around the world. You're listening to the Johnny iPro Show with your host, Johnny Pro.
Hi guys, welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Guys, thank you so much. A bunch of new faces, old faces. Hey, there are new faces, everybody. Guys, who's excited for D'Lo Brown? Make some noise. Yes, sir. And now we're live at the CSN Network right here. Also, Supreme Jeans right there, guys. Shout out to them. So, guys, let's bring out D'Lo Brown.
You got the radio now. You wanna kick this sorry ass out in the street.
What's up with this? Digging this, bro. Keep it going. Keep it spinning. That's a hell of a song.
Give another one. Give another head nudge. Give another head nudge.
This thing up here.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, let's get it started. I gotta say, welcome to the Johnny iPro Show live, especially here at the beautiful CSN Network. Guys, give it up for yourself and one more time for D'Lo Brown. Now, it's gonna say, it's been a minute since we've seen you in Toronto. Let the people know the last time you were in Toronto.
You know, the last time I was here wrestling might have been 15 years ago, but then, Impact TNA has done some TV tapings here a few times over the last couple of years, and I've come here. But man, it's been a minute since I've been in the downtown part of the city, hanging out and feeling the vibe. So I'm digging it. I appreciate you guys having me here.
And let them know about your presidential suite.
Oh, bro. I'll give you a quick story. So we go to the hotel. I'm not going to name it.
Of course
Hell,
not.
I might name it.
Go ahead.
The Chelsea. All right. So we go in there, and they're like, okay, here's your hotel room. And we're walking in the hallway, and we get there and put the thing and the door won't open. What the hell? Fuck, we got to go back down. No, okay, well, let me try this door. Boom, it opens. It opens it up. And I feel like I'm Barack Obama walking into this room. I look in, and the reason why that door wouldn't open because it's one of three and it's locked. I've got a fireplace in there. I've got two showers. I was sitting there. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna chill right here. Nobody bother me. I'm good to go. In fact, let's invite everyone here to do the interview because we had enough room. So it was pretty cool.
It was pretty good. Exactly. Guys, hey, how about the mayor of the city? Let's get D'Lo as the mayor. Why not? Canadian citizenship. Let's go. Let's go right into wrestling now. What got you into wrestling? What inspired you?
Damn, I mean, that's pretty easy. I've been a fan of wrestling since I was 9 years old when I first accidentally changed the channel on the TV and saw two guys beating the hell out of each other, and I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. So since I was 9 years old, I mean, I just have been in love with what professional wrestling is. And I remember telling my sister, I think I was 11, I was like, I'm going to do that. And she goes, yeah, right. And I said, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And probably 15 years later, I'm standing in what used to be the Philadelphia Spectrum, about to go to the ring, and it was my sister, and she goes, oh, you did it, didn't you? I was like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
And here we are today, guys. That's it. Like I say, the fans love it, especially the young ones. So who are your favorites growing up?
Well, easy one is Ron Simmons. If you don't love Ron Simmons, I got a problem.
That's it.
And then I love guys like the grunt workers. I didn't realize what they were, but until after I got in the business, it was guys like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, and I was a big fan of the Russians and the Rock and Roll Express. So like these are the guys who I was like, damn, those are guys who look like me, particularly in Ron Simmons. And if he can do that, why the hell can't I? So guys like that inspired me to go out there and get in the squared circle myself.
Exactly. What does Ron Simmons mean to you?
What doesn't he mean to me? He means everything. Like, he's the dad I always wanted, and I was fortunate enough. Like, people say, don't meet your heroes because they'll let you down. That is not the case with Ron Simmons. Like, he was my idol, who became my friend, who became my mentor, who's like, I'll call him right now and go, Ron, I'm thinking about painting my bedroom purple. And he'll go, don't do that damn shit. So I'll call him right now about the stupidest stuff. But that's what he means to me. Like, he is literally my dad. In many ways, he's my dad.
If you like call him, does he do the damn to you?
Oh, he'll do the damn all the time. I did a USO tour about a year and a half ago. I was over at in Djibouti. Yeah, in Djibouti. I was up in Djibouti. And I'm up on stage and I'm telling a story very similar to this. And one of the servicemen goes, "Why don't you call him?" And I go, "All right." So I pulled my phone out. "Ron, I'm live here in Africa and I'm standing in front of the troops. You got anything to say?" And I put the mic up and he goes, "Damn!" And the whole crowd going crazy. So he'll damn me all the time.
I love it. Now, let's go to the timeline. 1994, Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Yeah.
Now, you were part of the Gangstas.
New Jack, give it up right
New
there.
Jack
I
right
see
there.
you.
Right there. Look at that photo right there.
Oh, man.
The three of you right there.
Golly, that was young. Let me see that picture. I was so wet behind the ears and young there. Golly. I don't even know that kid. But this brother right here, New Jack, that's a real brother right there. That's a real one right there. And I will say this, he may not have wrestled there, but I believe New Jack deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. If guys like Abdullah the Butcher can be there, New Jack can be there, because what he did for wrestling can't be measured or monetized. He changed the way guys do promos, and he changed perception of a lot of people in this business. And New Jack, he deserves his flowers.
You know what? I got to say, you deserve your flowers. How about yourself in the Hall of Fame as well?
I consider myself in the Hall of Very Good. I don't think I did enough to become a Hall of Famer, but I got to walk in the same stratosphere with Hall of Famers. So I'm in the Hall of Very Good.
Exactly. Now in the Smoky Mountain Wrestling as well,
Yeah.
you had the very young Undertaker
Oh,
that
yeah.
became the phenom himself, one of the
Yeah.
greatest to ever do it. How was that?
It was crazy because when Cornette said that he was going to bring in Taker to work with the Gangsters in a six-man, my first thought was, oh man, I better not mess up, because if I do, my career is over before it even starts. But then it was Taker was such a cool dude and so giving, and the way he talked to us, he set everything up, and then afterwards he was so complimentary of everything we did out there. And funny thing was, 3 years later when I showed up in WWE, Taker saw me walk to the locker room and he saw me, he goes, "I knew you'd be here." And I was like, wow, you knew it. I didn't know it, but I'm glad I'm here.
Exactly. Is there any fond memories, like even stories that nobody ever heard? You can say on the show right here, right not, of the Gangstas.
Man, I don't know if I can say this on air. Like most of this stuff.
Young kids, cover your ears. No.
Yeah, kids, earmuffs. I'll just say this, that like being around Jack and being around Staffa, those were two guys who were, they lived the gimmick in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, they were totally different people. And Jack really showed me how to become a professional at a young age and how to capture the moment and not be afraid to be the bad guy or be hated, and to embrace it and to use that as fuel to get better. So, I mean, and then Jack showed me a couple of things, a couple strip clubs in Atlanta we can't talk about. But Jack was a real dude, and Staffa he was such an intimidating guy on camera, but then you get him, sitting in we used to call it the Smoky Mountain Flop House, where we all lived. 7 guys living in one house. Rent was $400 and we couldn't afford rent. That's how broke we were. But you get him in that house and he had this laugh that was infectious, and he was like this giant teddy bear. But then you put him in front of people and people would just run just from staring at people. So just amazing guys, and I consider myself very fortunate to have had them in my life and my wrestling career.
Exactly. Now let's go all the way to the WWF debut right here. A young AC Corner.
Oh, golly. Wow.
Look at that right there.
Look at this kid. Golly, I had no clue what I was in for.
Let's talk about your call-up to the WWF.
So these were TV enhancement matches. You know that guy who's always standing in the ring who is going to get his tail kicked? That was one of those matches. I believe that was against Earthquake, was one of my first matches. And it was getting a sneak peek at what what Oz must be like. You know, you're living in Kansas and all of a sudden you wake up and everything's in color. So you all the stuff you've seen on TV, the production, the ring, the crowd, it's like you don't go from sitting out in the crowd, you're in the ring looking out. And it's just the most surreal thing because you're like, my whole life I wanted to be here. Now I'm here and I'm scared out of my ever-loving mind. Now, okay, let's go to work now. And it was fun being out there. It was good getting the experience and being in front of that many people because I think there might have been 18 or 20,000 people in that building. And up until then, I might have been in front of 8 or 20 people. So it was a different thing performing in front of that many people live and feeling the energy and the passion. And all it did was make me just want it more. It made me just hungry for more and more and more. And I wanted to be the other guy on the other side of the ring who was the guy featured. That's what drove me to be that dude.
And here we are today. That's it. I gotta say now, let's talk about this. Everybody loves the Nation of Domination. Nation of Domination. Now, how did that all come about?
That was a Ron Simmons creation, and all due respect goes to Ron. He won it because he was doing this. I don't know if you guys are, well, most of you guys are old enough to remember. He was doing this Spartacus gimmick where he's wearing this blue helmet and wearing like a half frilly dress, like something out of Roman Empire. And he didn't like that. He wanted more. So he had pitched the idea of this faction of militant, young, hungry black men who wanted more out of wrestling than just the stereotypical thing that we were at that time. So he pitched it, and then the original concept was Ron, Savio Vega, who was just here, Crush, bless his soul, and then a bunch of Clarence Mason's fraternity brothers. Clarence Mason was the lawyer who was out there. And so that worked well, but then I came in as one of Clarence Mason's henchmen, and then the idea came to evolve the Nation into something more. And that's when Ron fired everybody except for me and brought in Godfather and then brought in Rocky and brought in Mark Henry. And that's when the Nation became the Nation. Like that's when we started taking over, and then they programmed us with DX, and the rest is history. I mean,
now I gotta say, now you said just DX right there. One match that really stands out is the street fight. When they obviously before that, remember their whole little gimmick, they start.
Oh yeah.
They all dressed as all you guys.
Yeah, that was the parody of us. Now I will say, we had, and people ask me all the time, were we ever mad about that? No, because we helped them get ready to do it. Like we would give them parts of us. So for me to say I was mad, no. Now with 2024 eyes, because we have done a couple things differently, yes, I would have never allowed blackface or anything like that. But I think overall, that was one of the funniest segments that was done, and it helped spark the rivalry between us. In fact, I remember telling Road Dogg he did a better D-Lo than I do. And it was because of his portrayal of me that people started paying attention to, oh hell, this kid really does shake his head, and he really does mimic everything Ron says, and he really does shake it, do all this stuff. And then I went out 2 segments later and I'm doing it, and they're like, oh wow. And that's when people started really focusing on me as an individual. So to say I was ever mad about that, no. I was very happy it was done. In fact, the fact they were paying that much attention to us meant that our group was strong enough that they could do that.
Exactly. I gotta say now, right here, Canada's very own Owen Hart.
Oh.
Woo! Yeah!
Woo! Now, joining the Nation of Domination, Owen Hart. How did that come about?
Okay, we used to call Owen Mr. White Folks. And because he joined the Nation, he was there to make white folks mad. But all seriousness, Owen was, he was one of the coolest individuals I've ever been around. He would take every opportunity to teach the young wrestlers. He would, if he saw a kid, he would stop, he would sign an autograph. One of the kindest souls, even if he was older than you, Owen was everybody's baby brother, because everyone took care of Owen. And then to have him there critiquing my matches after they were done, give me pointers, telling me things I should do or I shouldn't do. It was like having a PhD level professor right there in the car with me. And so my time with Owen, man, it's what really helped me refine myself as an individual and a wrestler in the ring. Owen gave me a lot. I mean, he's the one that told me to turn the volume up on who I was. And that's when all the head shaking and the strutting and all that stuff came out, because Owen inspired me to be more than what I was. So shout out to Owen. I love you and miss you.
And I gotta say, one match that sticks out when he was Nation Domination, that steel cage match versus the DX.
Yeah.
Let's go down that match. Some people's favorite match right there, Nation versus DX.
It was one of those deals where we knew it was gonna happen and we all anticipated it. And we wanted to go out there and just, it wasn't about stealing a show, it was about putting on the best match that we could in that moment. And, you know, we're still talking about it 25 or 30 years later. So I think we did our job when we went out there and we killed it. We laid it on the line. We put out for each other. We sacrificed and we gave a hell of a match to the fans that they're still talking about to this day. So it's one of the matches I'm very proud of.
Exactly. Now I got to say this now. You see those little figures right there? Right beside you right there. Now, guys, we talked about this last night. Remember this? Explain to because the young kids obviously, well, I still love my figures, guys. We're all marks in here, okay? We all love wrestling, okay?
Shit,
now,
so
guys,
am I.
Let's talk about that figure right there. Explain to them exactly who that actually was.
So like this, okay, this is my first action figure. So I'm blessed and grateful that I get it, that I have it, and it's in my world. But this ain't me. I don't know. Okay, I do know who this is, but this ain't me. And when I explain it to you, you'll look and you go, "Oh yeah." So this figure comes out, and know I'm getting it. I remember going to Toys R Us. Y'all youngins don't know nothing about Toys R Us. Remember going to Toys R Us, and they're like, oh, you know, they were told me the figure's gonna be on shelves on, pick a date, January 7th. All right, great. I go to Toys R Us and I'm looking up. Okay. There it is, D'Lo Brown. I see my picture. Who the hell's that? But I'm still happy. I don't care. I look at it and I go, that's Big Van Vader. The story behind this action figure was, they had about 300,000 Big Van Vader bodies. The reason I know it's Vader, you can see him doing the Vader time with his finger. I never wore gloves. I never wore elbow pads. All they did was paint the body, and I don't know what looked at it. It looks like I got hit by a car. And they go, D'Lo, your first action figure, go. Once again, I'm grateful. Not everybody gets an action figure. It's Vader's, and I had a Kaboom box. When did I ever walk in the ring with a Kaboom box? So they must have had extra Kaboom boxes laying around too. So give it to D'Lo. We gave him Vader's body.
Love it. Now I gotta say now, there's one story that everybody just loves overhearing stuff. Let's talk about some of the people not even hear this yet. The People's Elbow, The Rock's People's Elbow.
So, for those of you who don't know, the People's Elbow, although devastating and everyone remembers it fondly, right? Started out as a mistake. Started out because Rocky was not able to drop a left-handed elbow. So one time he did all this, and he was trying, Rocky, and give him credit to Rocky, he's always trying to improve stuff. So one time he went out there and he hit the rope and it came off like this, and he went, and kept running and came back and dropped the right elbow. And so Godfather and I are out there, we're managing him, because the Nation always go together. It will always be three of us, one in the ring and two on the floor. And Godfather and I are laughing, go, he can't do an elbow, look at him. And so we ribbed him for 2-3 weeks. And Rocky's like, all right, He took it as a challenge. Then he started doing adding all the stuff to it. And then so we would only do it on house shows. And those were just non-televised events. And then finally he goes, all right, D'Lo, I'm gonna do the elbow on TV today. And I go, no, you're not. He goes, yeah, I'm gonna do it on TV. So they had me on color commentary. You can go back and listen to it. It's me, JR, and King. And Rocky goes, we're going to call it something. And I go, I don't know. It's for the people. Call it the people's elbow. And he goes, the people's elbow. So go out there and in commentary, I know when he's going to do it. I'm looking for it. And I go, JR, King, The Rock's a giving individual. He's got something he wants to give to the peoples. He wants to give something to the peoples. And here's Rocky doing this. And you hear King going, what? And it hits it, and I go, that's the people's elbow!
I just hope he cut you a good check.
He gave me a fake Rolex. He gave me a check.
Oh, let's talk about that. That's a funny story as well. I see the fake Rolex. How that was just hilarious.
It was just it was one, the nation was kind of splitting up, and Rocky was creating the divide between Ron Simmons and the nation, and so he brings us all out for presents, and he gives us all these boxes, right? Oh, great. And we open it up, and there's Rolex. We put our Rolex on. Oh, look, Rolex. And then he goes, Ron, Godfather, or Farouk, I've got a special present for you. Farouk opens it up, and it's a picture of Rocky. And so it was a funny segment on TV, and it really started the divide between us, but it was something that people still talk about. And if I get asked every time out, do you still have the watch, the Rolex Rock gave you? I'm like, man, they took that back. I don't get to keep that. But I get that asked 100 times every time I'm out somewhere at a convention. You still have Rocky's Rolex? No, I don't. And it turned my wrist green.
Love it. Now let's talk about this right there. I say, guys, the greatest European champion of all time right here. Now, I got to say, 4-time champion.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off the battles you had. First, obviously, you won off Triple H.
Yeah.
On Raw. Let's talk about that, 1998. And the celebration after that, iconic. Let's talk about that.
It was in the middle of heating up between DX and the Nation. And that same night, Rocky was wrestling X-Pac for the IC title. So the shock and awe moment was me beating Triple H for the European title, and everyone assumed that X-Pac was going to win the IC title. So I remember that day not knowing what was going to happen until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and sitting there going, they walk up to me and go, okay, you're wrestling Triple H tonight, European title, okay, great. And you're going to win. Pardon me? Excuse me. Yeah, we're it's part of the whole thing. But anyway, long story short, so I'm like, this can't be real. They got a camera on me. They're making sure I'm not jumping around screaming happy for joy. And then I knew it was really going to happen because about 6 o'clock, Triple H came up to me and goes, you need this for some pictures you got to take. So he brought me the European title. So I'm doing 8x10s before I won the damn thing. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm really winning this belt tonight. I can't believe this. Here's this little fat kid from New Jersey who's not supposed to be doing this, and I'm going to be a champion. So we go out there, we have the match, and Rocky hits the rock bottom on Triple H, and I crawl over, and I cover Triple H, and I'm hearing the 1, 2, 3, and I'm literally crying. Because this is my childhood dream coming true. I'm a champion in the WWF. I'm one of the 5 people who hold belts in this company. And I'm standing up and people, this may be entertainment and it may be, scripted, but the reaction I had holding that belt up was the 9-year-old inside of me jumping for joy. So that was real. That emotional response was real on every level. And hard work does pay off, bro, and it's perseverance. And holding that belt up, screaming, I'm the champion of Europe, because I couldn't even figure European champion in my head. All I could say, I'm the champion of Europe! Because that's how excited I was inside. And that was I remember Vince Russo coming back to me and going, bro. I knew you were going to be a star right there, bro. And I go, being a star is being real emotional? okay, I got this down. and that was, from that moment on, my career took off. I mean, I went from being that guy in the background to a guy in the forefront. And I'm forever thankful for Triple H for doing that, because he didn't have to. And for everyone who felt comfortable enough to put me in that position. So what a great day in my life, in my career.
Exactly. You also had that, give it up, guys, one more time, get up. And you also had that iconic blindfold match.
Oh, yeah. It's another match with Triple H. That was in Las Vegas. It was, 2008 or 2008. We had this blindfold match, and I had seen a bunch of blindfold matches as a kid. They were very big in the southern part of the United States, in the old NWA territory. And when Tripp came to me and said, we're going to do a blindfold match, we just started laughing. We're like, okay, this is going to be fun. Let's make this the best blindfold match we can make it. And we went out there and killed it. I mean, killed it. I had so much fun. Again, people are still talking about it to this day. So obviously it's not lost in time. People still remember it. So I think we did our job.
Exactly. And I got to say now, the feud with X-Pac. Because you obviously won the title off him as well. Let's talk about that right there.
There's just, in wrestling, you have these people that you meet or wrestle, and it's effortless. Like, everything you do is, you could have a great match no matter how hard you try. Like, I think X-Pac and I could have a 5-star match in a phone booth. Like, we just matched on every level, our chemistry. And so every time I got in the ring with him, it was a night off. It was so fun. And we always wanted to make this match better than the last one we had. And the next one better than that one. And that was our mindset every time. And I think we took a title that before we got it, X-Pac and myself, the European title was considered a joke title. It was kind of like, it was there. And by the time we were done, it was right on par with the Intercontinental title as a title that people wanted and they wanted to compete for. And people, the fans, respect it when it walked out through the curtain. So we worked our ass off, and along with a bunch of other great guys like Al Snow and William Regal and even Jeff Jarrett, trying to make that belt mean more than what it was when we got it. So without X-Pac and I going at it and showing everybody that you could work for this title and you could have a great match for this title, it set the bar for everyone else who competed for it. So I'm eternally indebted to X-Pac, and he's one of my best friends to this day.
Love it. And I got to say now, that moment, you beat Jeff Jarrett. Obviously, you took his girl as well. Let's talk about that. Wait, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, bro. We'll get to that. Now, double champ. Guys, somebody can hand me a photo right there. Those are the ones you'll be signed after this. Somebody hand me a photo right here. Let's show him right here, double champ right here, guys. You see that right there?
That is one of the coolest moments ever, because I didn't think it could get any better holding the European title. And then I had just won back the European title on like Sunday. I think it was from Midian. And then, shout out to Midian. You know, he's like a chef now in Tampa. He's like well sought after. Like, he's like Gordon Ramsay level stuff. Crazy.
Would you eat from him though?
He's a well sought after chef in the Tampa area. No, I would definitely. So I just won the European title back from Midian, and then the next night on Raw, I see him wrestling Jeff Jarrett, and I'm like, oh. And then I see it's title for title. I'm like, how are they gonna get out of this? I guess I'm dropping the title. And then we have the little get together, and like, okay, D'Lo, you're gonna win the Intercontinental title. And again, I go, come again. And I'm looking around again for the camera, because now, okay, the European title was one thing, but the Intercontinental title has a 60-year history.
Prestige, yeah.
And you immediately start thinking of all the names of all the guys who have held that title before you, and now your name is going to be forever right there with them. So we go have the match, The 1, 2, 3 happens. I'm holding both belts up in the air, and I'm going, oh my God, I could die right now. Don't really die right now, but I could die right now. And so I get back to my hotel room that night, and I lay both belts on the bed, two beds. I lay both belts on the bed, and I sit down. And I sat on that bed staring at those two belts for must have been an hour, not believing they were both there with me. Wow. So the next night, I'm getting ready to go do a match, and I got my European belt on, and I've got my IC belt on my shoulder, and Ron Simmons walks up to me and goes, "Oh, look at you, double champ!" And then he grabbed my shoulder and goes, "You earned that, boy. You earned that." And just having your dude, your mentor, the dude you look up to tell me I earned something, I'm about to cry right now.
Hey, let it out. That's it, guys.
So, damn is right. Yeah.
It was big time there. I got to say now, the origin of the chest protector.
Yes.
People are going to hear this.
So, everyone hears about the legendary catering area in WWE, right? Where the boys who aren't on TV sit and everybody complains. So we're at catering, and Jim Ross is sitting there, and I'm walking by, and Jerry goes, "Hey, D'Lo, when you get your food, come back here. I would like talk to you for a second." Okay. Jerry, I don't like talking to anybody. What's going on? So he sits me down and he goes, "You know, you're a damn good wrestler. But you need something that's going to separate you from the pack." And I'm like, you're right. I could, something that's going to stand out. I go, okay, cool. Does it give me ideas? He goes, "I do, in fact." And I go ahead. JR, Mr. Wrestling has got an idea for me. Okay, I'm all ears. He goes, your finish is the frog splash. Yeah, yep. What if we did something where you hurt your chest and you had to wear this protection device on your chest and it would aid your finish so it would be more impactful? And outwardly I'm going, yeah. In my mind I'm going, that's the dumbest idea ever. Who wants something on their chest? So he goes, yeah, like a chest protector. And I go, okay, all right, let me think about that. And I walk away and I go, hope he forgets that idea. Dumbest idea ever heard. So the next day in catering, he goes, "Can you think about what I talked about yesterday?" I'm like, let me think about this. And when I get back at TV next week, I'll tell you what I think. So I go home, and my fiance time I'm like, babe, they're gonna make me look stupid. I'm gonna look like a baseball catcher. It's gonna be the dumbest idea ever. Stupid. And I'm mad in hell. Like, they're gonna kill my career. My ex-wife says, probably the single most important thing she ever said to me, other than call me an ass. She goes, "Babe, try it. And if it fails, it's because it's a bad idea. But if you don't do it, it's your fault for never trying it." Why do you gotta make sense?
Words of wisdom right there. Words of wisdom.
Why do you gotta make damn sense? So I get back to TV and I'm like, all right, JR, let's go with the chest protector idea. Let's give it the old fighting chance. And inside I'm falling apart. I'm like, I'm gonna look dumb. Boys are gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna wear that thing out and they're gonna giggle. So they build this thing and I gotta try it on a couple times and I'm going, oh God. Ugh. And the words coming out of my mouth I cannot say on television. And I'm like, oh, okay, finally, the debut night, it's in Pittsburgh, and Rocky is wrestling Ken Shamrock. And Rocky does something, the referee gets knocked down, and there's Ken Shamrock laying in the ring, and I come running down. I jump over the rail, and I climb to the top, and I'm wearing the chest protector. I get to the top rope, and they hit the frog splash. Boom. Boom! And the crowd goes, whoo! And I went, they've never made that sound before when I do that. And I stood up, and I went, got out of the ring, and you could hear people yell at me like, "You're not hurt! You're not hurt!" And I was like, oh, this might work. I'm glad I tried this. Greatest idea ever. I'm glad I tried this. Who was smart enough to tell me to try this? And I never gave my ex-wife credit for that. But yeah, it was something that just, it worked, and it pissed people off so much that I wasn't hurt. It was aiding my finish, and it just added to what I was and added to me, and it separated me from the pack because I was the only guy wearing a chest protector. And what I thought was the dumbest idea was the thing that really solidified me as a main eventer and put me out there for the world. Thank you, JR, for suggesting it. I'm sorry I called you an idiot in my head. And I'm glad I decided to put that damn thing on because it actually worked. So I'm thankful, knock on wood.
And I got to say this now. What also separates you from the rest? Your head nudge.
Yeah.
Guys, let's all do it one time. The head nudge. Let's do it. Now that right there, you know, like back then growing up, you had the DX, the suck it. Obviously, we can say it now before you get in trouble in school. Like,
Yes.
everybody's Austin, middle fingers. Kids don't do that. But obviously, you had your head nudge.
Yes.
Now, how did that come about?
Okay. Everything happens with Rocky.
Rocky, here we go, Rocky.
So back in the day, it was like 98. For you young kids here, DVDs were a new thing. And we would carry around DVD movies like we would carry around, sleeves of CDs. So one of the movies that we'd always watch, you'd have your go-to movie, was Friday. Does anybody know the movie Friday? So Rocky and I are sitting there on a Sunday night. We're getting ready for Raw the next day, and we throw in Friday, and we're sitting there talking, and Friday's always playing in the background. And there's the scene where brother goes, my mama want me to get my bike back. Debo goes, all right. And he knocks him out. And Chris Tucker goes, you got knocked up. And he shakes his head, right? And some reason I see that and I go, oh, okay. And don't think twice about it at the moment. So fast forward 24 hours, we're at TV and Rocky's wrestling Ken Shamrock. And the moment comes when Rocky's going to clothesline Ken Shamrock over the top rope and Ken's going to fall to the floor. And that's when the commercial break happens because you hear JR going, oh my God, Ken Shamrock's trouble, we'll be right back. So I can hear this in my head. So I see the camera going there. And I go running over to Ken and I go, Ken, you just got knocked the fuck out. and I that was the first time I did my head shake. And so I immediately go, okay, we're in commercial break. And I went, oh man, I'm in trouble. I just said the F-bomb on national TV to the camera. I'm gonna get fined. I'm gonna get suspended. I just swore on TV. Oh, dang it. So the rest of the match, I'm outwardly Mad D-Lo doing my thing. Inside I'm going, how am I gonna explain getting fined to my fiance and I'm boom. So we get to the back. You walk up through our gorilla, the curtain. And when you walk through, there's the agent of your match. And then sitting right behind there is Vince with a monitor. Yes, I know his name's a bad name now, but back then it wasn't a bad thing. So there's Vince sitting with a monitor, and you got two Vince looks. There's only two Vince looks. It's either he'd look up at you and go, or he'd go, you don't want that one. So we come through the curtain, and Vince looks at Rocky. Rocky, D-Lo.
No.
And now I know I'm getting fined. I know I dropped the F-bomb on TV, and I'm walking up and go, yes, sir? D-Lo, that thing you did with your head, keep doing it. That's it? I'm not getting fined? Yeah, I'm not getting fined! So I run out, and I'm thinking, all right, woo! But then it dawned on me. I had just done something that got the attention of a guy who his job is to look for things that get people's attention. I had just done something that piqued his curiosity. And if it got his curiosity, it was going to get the people's. There's those people's again.
People's, there you go.
and so the next house show loop, I started shaking the head, and over the next couple weeks, I started with the strut because I just couldn't walk to the ring going like this. That just didn't work. It didn't feel right. So then the strut came. So I was shaking my head without shaking my head, and then you throw in the chest protector, and when you put all those things together, I went from a little fat kid from New Jersey to D'Lo Brown from Chicago, Illinois, and became that dude. and man, it was amazing how it all started coming together. But when it did, it made this package that was that's still talked about 30 years later. So I'm
So good.
Wow.
Now I gotta say, let's talk about the most iconic entrance theme. One of the most. You can even drive down playing your song. People bump their heads to this. How did that come about?
Hold on, hit it one time.
Hit it one time. Hit it one time. Get up, get up. Give it to people.
You're looking at the real deal now. Wanna kick this sorry ass
Shout out Jim Johnson. What a musical genius. And I'll just put it like that. Let's give him his flowers. So when that song came from, Mark Henry and I were a tag team, and that was going to be our tag team song, because the original one has more words in it, and there was a lyric in there called "You call Mr. Henry, call Mr. Brown." So they had built that for both of us, but Jim had asked me, he wants you to bring samples of music that you like, and I had brought him a couple of beats that I liked. Mark liked them. And he goes, all right, hold on a second. And he listens to it, and he looks at me, and he's like, okay, you kind of have that strut. And you see him doing like this. And he goes, oh, you shake your head. He goes, all right, hold on a second. And he goes, I'll be right back. And he turns, and he starts doing some stuff on this, right? And all of a sudden, the bass line comes out, and he goes, what do you think of this? And it's just the bass. And I go, oh yeah.
That's it right there. That's it right there.
And he could see me. And if I'm doing this, that means I like, he could tell. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, hold on a second. And he goes back. All right, what about this? And then he throws some instrument to instrument, and it's like, oh man, that's pretty good. And he goes, it just needs something in the beginning. It needs something, I'll think about it. And he goes, all right, I'm gonna send this off. About a week later, we're at TV, and they go, D-Lo, Mark, we got your music. Which ended up because they split us up, and it became my music. We got your music, we're gonna play it over the speakers for the first time for you to hear it. Boy, it's a big moment. So we're standing there, all of a sudden, the record scratch drops, and that song hits, and I go, holy hell, I've made it in the world. I was like, I've got my own music. And like, I don't know about y'all, but that music still works today.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Like it stands the test of time. That was made in '98, and you could drop that in 2024 on somebody in the ring, and they'd be like, okay, that's badass. Full disclosure, I tried to buy that song from WWE, and they wouldn't let me. And I'm like, you don't have any. That's how they know it's that good. They won't even sell me the damn song that they don't use anymore. But I am. That song has become synonymous with me. Every day when I go to the gym, it's the first song I play as I walk through the gym.
Love
door.
it.
So if you see my headphones on, I'm walking to my own music into the gym. I love that song. It's great, and I hope if they ever give it away to somebody else,
It should be to you. It's just you.
Hopefully they never get to anybody else. But if they do use that music for somebody else, hopefully they respect the song as much as I do, and hopefully it brings them as much pride as it brought me, because that's a badass song.
I gotta ask DJ Merciless, what do you think of that song? He's DJ'd everybody. Yeah, that's a hit. That's it.
Bro, you could hear in the song, you can hear how detailed that thing is. It's ridiculous. It's something that can play on the radio. And Jim Johnson was amazing. Like, he can look at you. He'll watch a couple of your matches, and he can make music for you. He is just that kind of musical genius. I've never seen anything like it, where he can just. There are people who have gifts. There are poets, and there are writers, and there are directors. That brother's gift is music. His gift to the world is music, and he can look at anyone here and pay attention to you for 5 minutes and write you a song. And that's how good he was.
Amazing.
And it's a shame he's not involved in wrestling doing music themes now, because music themes have gotten so generic and plain and bland, and they all sound alike. And during Attitude, there were 60 people with 60 different sounding musics. And everyone had their own unique identity, and that's missing in wrestling.
What a time to be alive back then, that's for sure. Now, I gotta say, there's so many factions and so many people that get inducted into the Hall of Fame. We said obviously before we gave you your flowers, you should be inducted as an individual. How about the Nation of Domination? It's about damn time I gotta say.
I don't think I deserve to be in a Hall of Fame, but
Yes, you do.
I damn sure believe the Nation of Domination should not just be in a Hall of Fame, but it should have its own damn wing. To me, a faction is a group of individuals. Usually they're built, if you look through the history of wrestling, a faction is built to get one guy and elevate one guy. The Four Horsemen is about elevating Ric Flair. DX in many ways is about elevating Triple H. The Nation elevated everyone that was in it. And the true testament of what a faction is what they do after the faction is gone. And after the Nation disbanded, Ron goes on to win 4 tag team titles. Mark Henry becomes a world champion. Godfather becomes, 2 or 3-time Intercontinental champion. I become a dual champion. Each one of us got better after the Nation. Not one of us fell off. So that tells me how powerful the group, the Nation, was and what it meant to wrestling.
The impact.
We all got better. So if the Nation doesn't deserve to be in a Hall of Fame, there should never be a damn Hall of Fame.
We gotta start petition. Okay, so let's wind it right down now to your time in TNA. You teamed up with Dusty, AJ, you fought Angle, like some real iconic matches there and stuff. And whoever you teamed up with, let's tell your time in TNA.
TNA was cool for me because when I left WWE, I wanted to expand myself because I was, you were limited in the things you were allowed to do in WWE because there's so many guys and so many different things. So TNA really gave me an opportunity to expand who I was as a talent, as well as that first foray in becoming a teacher in the locker room, helping younger guys like AJ Styles or Bobby Roode or America's Most Wanted. Guys like that would come to me for advice on things that I had seen in my years at the WWE. So getting the opportunity to really be more than what D'Lo was in WWE and allowing myself to grow as a competitor, and then adding in my time in Japan with that, really, I think, polished everything I was and is as a performer, as an entertainer, and as a teacher. Some of the guys there working a young AJ Styles, being in the ring with him going, you're young, but you're going to be really, really good. Like, he was a young thoroughbred. You could feel it in the ring. Like, his ideas, his concepts, the way he moved around the ring was different than anybody else. And look, he's still out there doing it at a high level today. But knowing you could see him, you could just stay where you are. You're going to be good. Watching, a James Storm, Chris Harris, Bobby Roode, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen is Bobby Roode. He doesn't get his due. Being around that locker room, going from being the youngest guy in the locker room at WWE to now being the elder statesman and the guy everybody looked up to was a change. But it was fun, and it was a change that I needed, and I'm glad it happened, and I would do it again in a heartbeat because it allowed me to then impact younger wrestlers like the older wrestlers in WWE impacted me. Yes. And allowed me to pay it forward. So it was
next
really
generation
cool.
for sure.
Yes.
I gotta say, I previously had here Josh Alexander. Let's talk about Canadians. Man. The best wrestler of this generation, legit. So let's talk about Josh Alexander a bit, because he absolutely had great words for you the other day.
Josh Alexander, and I will put him in this stratosphere. Josh Alexander is Canada's Kurt Angle.
Well said.
And he is that good. He's that talented. He gets every aspect of wrestling, every aspect of the wrestling business, and he can sit and teach younger kids how to do this. One of the nicest guys, one of the most down-to-earth and humble guys. Those of you who've been around him know exactly what I'm talking about. And he's not changed one bit from when he was part of a mid-level tag team called the North to becoming TNA World Champion. He didn't change one bit. He was still the guy you joked around in the locker room, had fun with, told jokes with, and he would still take his time to interact with everybody. Josh Alexander is one of my really good friends. I hold him in the highest regard, and I would stand toe-to-toe with him any day of the week and put him up as a shining example of what anyone should be in wrestling.
Love it. Now I got to say the partnership between TNA and NXT, because he spoke about this as well. Guys, like he said, just stay tuned. So perhaps he's actually going to, you never know, I can't say anything, but what do you think about this partnership?
I think it's, in the beginning, no one knew what to expect from it. But now it's one of those things where everyone thought it was going to be one-sided towards WWE. Well, it's become mutual beneficial. Both companies are getting something out of it. You can see in the ratings, you can see in the buzz of people like Jordynne Grace and Joe Hendry, and even the Rascals going over there. So every time TNA talent go to NXT, NXT gets a bump. Anytime NXT talent come down to TNA, they get a bump. So it's mutually beneficial, and it's giving talent an opportunity to see different talent in different places and work in different places and broaden their horizons. I love the collaboration. I'm glad it will expand. Before I say something on camera I'll get in trouble with. I want it to expand. And I think in the next few months you're going to see some things where you're going to go, I never expected that, but I'm glad it happened. And I'll just say that. But I think it's good for all involved, and it's exposing the world to Jordynne Grace. She went out there and killed it, and now they keep bringing her back, and everyone believes in Joe Hendry now, when not everybody did before. I mean, Joe Hendry is now, he's crossing over where there are guys on newscasts or Major League Baseball or regular TV shows going, I believe.
NFL as well. I see it
NFL.
everywhere. Yeah.
So he's starting to cross over. So it's beneficial for everyone who this has touched. And like I said, things will happen. You'll go, I'm glad it did.
Exactly. And I guess as we're winding down now, the fans love these questions. Dream match. If there could be anybody past or present, D'Lo Brown versus whoever it may be.
This one I get asked a lot, and I would say this. I would love to wrestle in his prime and in my prime, Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
We never got the touch, and I regretted that forever. If I would love to go out there and go, here's 20 minutes, go steal the show, because I think we'd have, mostly due to him, but I think we'd have gone out there and killed it.
I gotta say, your favorite match of yours that you ever had in your career, what was your most favorite match that you loved the best?
Okay, that's a double-sided question. My single favorite match is SummerSlam '98, myself, Val Venus, Madison Square Garden for the European title. And the reason being is it's New York City, which is notoriously the toughest crowd in the world to play in front of. And I was most proud because in one 20-minute match, I had a D'Lo and a D'Lo sucks chant. So that means I was doing some work. So that means the New Yorkers felt, it didn't matter if they loved me or hated me, they felt a kind of way about me. Which, once again, if you can play New York, you can play anywhere.
Exactly.
And then the other side of that sword is, and I'll lump them all together, any match I ever had with X-Pac is my favorite match.
Iconic.
Pick one, my favorite. Doesn't matter where it was, pick one. Out of the hundreds of matches we've had, pick one. Because those are my favorite matches.
Now, guys, I love this as well. Everybody has their own different thing. Give me your Mount Rushmore.
And I, this is another question I've been asked a few times. Weirdly enough, I don't have a Mount Rushmore. And I say this in this way. In the history of wrestling, to pick out 4 individuals to put on the Mount Rushmore is disrespecting 4,000 others who have also laid down. Who do you pick? The biggest draw? Who do you pick? The best wrestler? Who do you pick? The best talker? My Mount Rushmore is wrestling. My Mount Rushmore is everyone who has stepped in that damn ring.
Couldn't I said it better? Now to end this off right now, when it's all said and done, your legacy, what do you want everybody to remember as D'Lo Brown as?
Wow. I just want everyone, I hope everyone thinks that no matter when they saw me or how they saw me, the money they paid for the ticket, I gave them money's worth, and they were happy and pleased with my matches, and remember me as a hard worker and someone who was going to give them every ounce of my spirit inside that ring. And if I can get that, then I could die a happy man.
What more can I say? But thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Now, guys, I gotta say now, guys, thank you so much for coming out. DJ, hit his music one time.